Hi everyone, my name is Princess Tembo. I'm from Good Hope Orphan Care from Keta 8. The International Day of a Young African Child is based on being proud as a girl child, being able to fight for your own rights, rights such as saying no to early child marriages, saying no to sex, saying no to sexual abuse. Fight for your rights as a girl child.
I am Tafazo Shorewa, a Style-Up member. To me, the Day of the African Child commemoration is a tool used for advocating the rights for the African child. It is a day where we celebrate the African child as a whole, and it is also used for speaking up the challenges faced by the African child. To us Zimbabweans, it is a special day. Why? Because we have the knowledge and the understanding that we are also being considered as children in Africa.
My name is Roselle Matsimba. I'm an ambassador for AIDS Health Foundation in the Style-Up program. So one of the things that we're doing advocacy, prevention, testing and treatment, and many other community-based programs that we're doing. As today we're celebrating the Day of the African Child. It's more like a reminder to us, whereby we're reminding everyone out there that it's a day we should continue advocating for the African child in terms of accessing different health services, the sexual and reproductive health services, in terms of accessing educational services, and also in terms of accessing legal services. So it's a reminder to us that we should continue advocating this for the African child. Despite whoever you are, we need to continue advocating for these services each and every day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wesley Moyo. We are here at Impilo Center of Excellence commemorating the International Day of an African Child. The theme for today is Accelerate Implementation for Agenda 2040 for an Africa fit for children. So today, we are going to be having so many programs, so many activities that they will be inclusive, but representing an African culture, us as Africans. So at this moment, going further, we are going to leave this floor for the AHF country programs manager. We leave the floor to you, sir.
Distinguished viewers and listeners, in particular our guest of honor today, Chaplain Ameno Ndovu of the Solace Project Zimbabwe Trust, representatives of the stakeholders we are collaborating with for this commemoration, namely the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, Bulawayo Province, the National AIDS Council, Africad, the Million Memory Project Zimbabwe, Side Media House. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, with the support of the highlighted stakeholders, belatedly commemorate the Day of the African Child, a day that has been celebrated on June 16 every year since 1991, in an effort to reduce the COVID-19 infections, which began to rise at the beginning of June 2021. The physical commemoration of this day had to be cancelled, hence the belated virtual commemorations today. Historically, the Day of the African Child honors those children who participated in the Soweto uprising in 1976 in South Africa on the need for better quality education for Africans. This incident brought to focus the need to continuously reflect and improve the rights of children in Africa. The 2021 commemorations run under the theme 30 years after the adoption of the Charter, accelerated implementation of Agenda 2040 for an African fit for children. This is a call for action for all men and women to embrace the Agenda 2040 for the betterment of the well-being of the African child. One of the aspirations of Agenda 2040, esteemed viewers and listeners, is to have every child grow up well-nourished with access to necessities of life. As the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, one of the roles we are playing in pursuit of this aspiration is to establish centers of excellency to provide quality health care for children and adults living with HIV. One such center is Mpilo Center of Excellency in Bulawayo, previously known as OI Clinic. Vulnerable children at this facility are provided sanitary wear and occasionally food handouts to address their needs. Our Girls Act program and the Young People's program is also meant to empower children with knowledge and skills so that they make informed decisions about their life choices. On this note, allow me, therefore, to welcome you all our viewers and listeners to our 2021 virtual commemoration of the Day of the African Child. I implore you to pay attention to the proceedings of this commemoration. I will conclude by quoting one of the commonest African proverbs: two ants do not fail to pull one grasshopper. If we consolidate efforts, wherever space might be, and focus on one goal, that of attaining Agenda 2040 as spelled out by African Union, we will certainly be victors. Let us all remember to mask up, vaccinate, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. The group that was performing here, they call themselves Africa Ngoma Arts. They are based in Phumula East. Kobulawayo gonto tuziyathunqa komfazi ushaya indoda. As we saw them presenting here, performing the instrument that they were using, it's called the mbira. The mbira is a very, very, very important instrument in this culture, especially for the international. That's why we are saying International Day of African Child. It is a very, very important instrument in Africa, the mbira instrument. So today, I'm not alone. I'm with my co-MC, and her name is Nenyasha. So at this moment, I'm going to leave the floor for Nenyasha.
Thank you to my co-MC Wesley for introducing me. Just like he said, my name is Nenyasha Right, today we're here to celebrate the International Day of the African Child. The International Day of the African Child stems from the uprising that happened in Soweto on the 16th of June in 1976. These youths were protesting to be taught in their natural languages. They were protesting for good quality education. They were protesting to receive good health care. So the Day of the African Child, the International Day of the African Child, is celebrated every year on the 16th of June in remembrance of those who fought in Soweto and some that lost their lives for some of the privileges that we still have. Now, don't think we're still not facing the same problems. We are, which is why we need to celebrate the day in commemoration of what they did and what we ourselves are still fighting for. Introducing the Good Hope Orphanage from Ngobulawayo in Keta. They're going to come and show us Isichikicha dance. Now, these are African kids right here who are very well versed and very, very good, I promise you, at the Isichikicha dance. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Ah
to the Good Hope Orphanage for showcasing such amazing talent. I hope, just like me, you enjoyed their Ischigicha dance. So, as we all know that we're in a COVID era and things are different from the way they were before. So we always need to remember that at all times we mask up, we sanitize, or we wash our hands with running water. We avoid handshaking and unnecessary movement, and at all times you keep 1 meter distance from the person next to you. In this way, we're able to make sure that we stay safe, we protect ourselves, and we don't spread the coronavirus. So next up, I want to introduce Chaplain Emmanuel Ndlovu, who is our guest of honor. He is from Masiye Phambili Junior Primary School.
Good day to you all. I think there is no greater privilege, whether it is in life, whether it is in weddings, whether it is in events, to be associated with commemorating an event that is not only broadcast in one country where you come from, but an event that can touch and reach millions of lives all across Africa. Today, may I kindly say I am very humbled to have an opportunity to let my voice speak out to as many people out there and give my little opinion of what the Day of the African Child means to me as an individual. It is ironic that 47 or 45 years, apologies, after some children in the streets of Soweto got up and shouted out that educate us please, in a language that we ourselves can understand and identify with. Who would have thought that 45 years down the line, somebody, somewhere in Zimbabwe, would be able to look back at that day and say, indeed, we remember that day, we commemorate that day, and we believe you set a wonderful example for many young people out there. Many young people who still echo the same sentiments that please educate us in a language that we can understand. What a wonderful event it is, what a wonderful thing to say. We are a part of an Africa, a part of a people and a part of children who can be identified with being uniquely African. You know, somebody once said to me some many years ago that you can always predict the future of a nation by examining the education system, the values and norms of the young people of that generation. If you can sit down and follow through on what it is that they learn, what it is that they take in, and what it is that they disseminate, you are able to carefully chart out a path of what people should be like in the next generation to come. Undoubtedly today, we're a part of a bigger global world. We have become a global village, where it is so easy to pick up your phone and speak to somebody in England, where it is so easy to pick up your phone and speak to somebody in the United States, where it's so easy to become one with people from diverse religions, diverse cultures, and diverse belief systems. Undoubtedly, it has had an effect, and it has changed the way we perceive ourselves as Africans. It has come with its advantages, it also has come with its disadvantages. Because being a part of a global village says that we somehow risk losing who we are as Africans. One of the keenest things, or one of the things that we are troubled with today in Zimbabwe is what we perceive as an identity crisis amongst young people. We have many young people who are not sure where they belong in the sphere of Africa, who are not sure where they belong in terms of their beliefs, in terms of what they are doing, and in terms of where they are going. And this is perhaps perpetuated by the fact that they have adopted so many different things, so many different belief systems, so many hopes, so many ambitions, that have inevitably also in one way or another changed the way they see the world and interpret the world that they live in. So while we sit here today and say, let us commemorate the African child, we must be able to ask ourselves, what is the African child? How do we define what an African child is? Are we able, with an absolute fact, to say, since we have this vision 2040s, where we hope to see an emancipated individual, where we hope to see a change in the way we perceive things, where we hope to be able to see young people being able to be enablers of change amongst their own peers. What are we saying? Are we saying that in this 2040 vision that we are looking towards, we are still going to have these African children that we hope for? I sincerely hope for. One of my biggest concerns and perhaps one of my biggest fears is that while the world changes and while young people change, we will lose an identity of who we are and what it means to be African. We may have this vision that someday we may come to 2040 and find ourselves sitting in a place where the people and the very young people we hoped would be able to come and occupy that space may no longer be the candidates that are fit to be called the African child in 2040. What then does that say to us? It says perhaps let's come to a place where we evaluate our education systems, where we evaluate our parenting systems, where we also evaluate the child himself and say to him, where are you in the line of life? Where are the parents in the line of teaching? And what does our system say about how we ought to be able to disseminate the much needed knowledge and information that our young people need today? To sit and say we are Africans when we are devoid of what we regard as culture is to simply put ourselves in a place where we'll never be able to identify who we are as a people. To take away our cultures, our practices, and our belief systems will somehow lead to a time and a place where young people will simply be nothing more than people who simply occupy a geographical place in this big world that we live in. What is our prayer? Our prayer is that let us go back to the words that were sang out in the Sowetan streets that say, please educate me in a language that I can understand. What does that mean? That means let us come back to our children and say, hey, this is who you are. Remember where you come from. Remember where you stand in the thick of things. Remember where it is that you are supposed to go. And perhaps if we can clearly be able to get to young people and speak to them in that language, just maybe Vision 2040 might become attainable in the way that we hope it will be. Perhaps as one draws close to a conclusion, I would like to say a few days ago I was watching a broadcast on a national television channel. We had a lot of women come over and say, you know what, that the behavior of our children today is purely unacceptable. One of them actually came up and said, you know what, we need to go back to how we did things in 1976. We need to go back and do things like we did things in 1982. And I was saying to myself, is that possible? Are we going to be able to come and sit with a child in 2021 today and say, let us take you back 10, 15, 20 years from now and expect you to still be normal in this era? I don't think so. But what is it that we can pray for? That every single parent, every single institution might be able to stop for a second and say, who are we as Africans? And can we still carry back down these traditions, these cultures, these beliefs that helped us identify with culture and identify with Africa, so that our children can someday be able to stand up, whether they're in Europe, whether they're in the Americas, and be able to say, you know what, I am an African. Not because of the color of my skin, but because of the values that I hold, but because of what I believe in, and because of what I cherish as being from the heart of Africa. In conclusion, please allow me to say something. Being a chaplain, it's always important to close by saying something that gives praise to where you come from. You know, one of the only 10 commandments with the word remember speaks of a certain element of identity. There's only one out of all the 10 commandments that has the word remember. It says to you, remember how you have come here. Remember a way of life that you're supposed to live in. Remember who has brought you into this existence. Remember how you are supposed to live. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, let us be proudly African. Let us be proudly able to disseminate what it means to be African to our children. Let us hold high our values, our hopes, and our aspirations as a people. Let us hold high what it means to be defined as a people who is different. Let us hold back the heritage of our nations. Let us hold up what it means to be called a people who are uniquely different. May you all have a wonderful Africa Day. Thanking you all.
Wow, 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 wow. Such amazing words from Chaplain Emmanuel Ndlovu. And I hope you heard what he said. The future is in our hands. And let's remember that as we continue to go about our day-to-day lives, that the future is in our hands. Now moving on to celebrate again the International Day of the African Child, we're going to have a famous instrument that is well known within Africa, and that is the marimba. Now, coming up to play some amazing marimba and showcase great talent, we have the Rainbow Blaze Marimba Band, right here from Gobulawayo at the Academy of Music.
And I'll be talking about how best we can increase access to services for persons living with disabilities. I feel like for generations, persons living with disabilities have been undermined, especially in the education sector. Even right now in Zimbabwe, there are actually a few persons living with disabilities who have access to, who are actually in university right now. And I feel like the only university which offers free education is the University of Zimbabwe, and the rest of the schools do not even consider us. I think that's one of the challenges we face, is accessing education. So I feel like the best remedy for this is actually to go into the universities and advocate for our own rights, so we can actually access education. And then in the health sector, I feel like from the moment we are born, some of us are actually discarded and thrown away because no one actually gives us more attention than we actually deserve. Some of us are bedridden because some of us, for example, can be maybe born with a heart disease, which maybe costs thousands of dollars, and then no one actually cares. So it's just bedridden. And I feel like the best way we can tackle this is also to advocating for the rights is actually important. And I feel like we need to tackle the government so they can actually increase access to health services.
name is Toboka Dlov. I'm from MMPZ, Billion Memory Project Zimbabwe. So my question is, people are living with disability. People living with disability, it's hard for us, for instance, maybe to date girls, because they say, hey, we've got this and that, because when we're working with the wheelchair, so it's bringing a challenge to us. So kunzima. Also ngapha uyahlala home ngapha ukuthi umtshela umuntu wakhona ayakwazi because we've got disability, but engazi ukuthi maybe you can be the best kuye umuntu wangikhona. So I think some just wena, have you accepted your disability? Because nxa uzi-acceptile yebo even ezakuyala this and that, but still life goes on. So also if lama organization that abayenza ama-road show land when addressing maybe HIV, let's say introduce ukuthi we people with disability like wesenjani, we want to train them before maybe clubs or youth center, they accommodate labo, because some of these organizations they don't accommodate these people. They say labana banje, so they neglect them. So it will be a challenge for us to see we out to give one lapana sinjani. Sita that want to do it because it's so it's hard for us. So I think maybe these NGOs berite ifro fund bencedela abantu abale-disability, not also ukuthi bakhela abantu abale-HIV London nalabo abale-disability bafuna ukunjani ukuncedisa also.
is Sister Shem Shaba, an advocate, ambassador, brand ambassador of AHF. I'm from Mbundane, representing AHF AIDS Healthcare Foundation. Firstly, I would like to tell you about Style Up program. Style Up program, mainly in our community, has helped children in pursuing up their ambitions and dreams. This is the time for us to advocate for our rights, especially a girl child. Mostly the girl children are being abused and they can't say it out, right? But through this day, we are being recognized as African children, and you can report anything anywhere, because the government on itself or the African continent just recognized us as children. So we have got rights, our rights are being expurgated.
Some of the challenges that we meet in the communities is that it's not a one-day thing that you can do in terms of like changing the community and family perspectives. It's an ongoing process in terms of explaining to someone who's so like attached to their religious beliefs or traditional beliefs that let me take it in Shona, whereby you say, because my sister has died, I have to go or something like that. It's an ongoing process. It's not a one-day thing to change someone's perspective that they have about their beliefs, cultural beliefs or religious beliefs. So that's one major challenge that we have, because this is an ongoing thing. It's a process. So it's a challenge on its own. If something is a process, it means something, it will take time to convince someone in the community from their beliefs and cultural beliefs that they are so attached to.
In our African society, I think we're all aware of child marriages. So it's actually a norm of, getting a young girl to, go into marriage. It's actually normal, but I feel like their rights are not being, upheld. So it's, I feel like we can actually maybe do awareness campaigns, educate, maybe going to especially in the rural areas. That's where we see more of the child marriages. Okay, we see more of child marriages. So if we actually go into places like those, and then we tackle the community of that place, I think we can actually stop child marriages.
13 years already kasela future kasela ma careers liyafekeza njani enqomuntu uyawelana ngisho ugadeti umuntu onjani njani ozabe sifuna ukulala laye warwad but umuntu lena kasela ma future goals akhe empilweni. So I think as abantu lezihlobo lana sincedisa abantu bona laba bengayindisa abantwana besesebancane.
come to the end of this amazing day where we had so many things and so many activities, so many wise words and so many voices heard in commemorating the International Day of the African Child. We started with the Mbira, where we heard authentic music and where they showcased their talent from young kids who were playing the Mbira. And then we moved on to the Ischigicha, where they showed us their amazing talent and they reminded us of what Africa and what our tradition really comes from. And from there we went on to the marimba, who blessed us with their lovely and melodious sound. And for that, we sort of understood and we celebrated the African Day in a good way, as we remember the efforts that were done in the Soweto uprising. Now, as we come to an end, I want you to remember that as an African child, you must know your rights. You must be able to fight for your rights. You must know the aspirations that you have, because it's about you fighting for your own rights, and there's no one else who's going to fight for your rights. So as you fight for your rights, you remember why you're fighting for your rights. You're fighting against rights such as early child marriage, against drug abuse and alcohol abuse, against sexual abuse and any form of abuse, because you are an African child, you know your rights and you know your worth. So as we come to an end of the amazing celebrations, we're going to have an amazing dance from the Africade group that is going to show us an amazing dance.